Hello, and we're back. How are we doing? Yeah, show me some love. Show me some love, please. All right, so we have a very special guest coming up on stage. From Grammy Award-winning songwriter to reality TV star, business owner, Broadway producer, entrepreneur, and beyond, Kandi has mastered the art of the pivot like a few others in entertainment. Join her in a conversation to discuss the art of pivoting. Please give a very loud welcome to Kandi Burress and our moderator, Sophia Dennis.
Yes. Everybody, head over to the stage.
What's up, y'all? Hello, everybody. Have y'all been enjoying yourselves out here today? Yeah, I've been meeting a lot of cool people out here today.
Oh, and this is definitely going to be one of the highlights of Essence Festival because Kandi is the coolest, and I'm so excited to have this conversation with you. You have no idea. And I hope everybody else is excited for the conversation and that everybody starts to head over to the BeautyCon stage because we cannot have this stage empty for an icon like Kandi. All right? Everybody needs to be here.
Thank you.
So, you need no introduction. Everybody knows who you are. You are absolutely fabulous. You have an incredible, immaculate voice, and the world is just so in awe of everything that you have done and that you are doing. But I think a lot of people might not notice how much you've pivoted, how many things you've done, and how much you really have accomplished. So, Kandi, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and a little bit about some of the interesting things you've been working on?
What I'm working on now, what I've worked on throughout my
What
career.
you're working on now, because we'll get into some of the previous stuff.
Oh, okay. Hello, everybody. How y'all doing? Okay, currently, um, I'm still working on a lot of things. So, currently, I'm a producer on the Broadway show August Wilson's Joe Turner Come and Gone. That's starring Taraji P. Henson and Cedric the Entertainer. That's my fifth Broadway production that I've been a part of. Currently, I'm also doing my one woman show that I've been performing in different cities. It went from being one show to a small tour. So I did, I'm done. I've been doing that. Currently, I have more shows that are coming up with my group Escape. I am my company, Candy Coated Cosmetics. We have a booth out here. Go see us if y'all haven't had a chance to yet, which is a branch off of Bedroom Candy, my adult product line. I am also doing, Speak on It, which is my online web series that I interview people. I also do The Next Move, which is for people who want inspiration to keep going in their businesses. Like we do like a monthly online meetup on Zoom, and it's open for anybody who wants to be a part of that. I think I think I'm missing something, but for right now, I guess that's what I'll say.
So, Kandi obviously has built and is currently building an empire. Your previous Real House of Atlanta tagline was, I may be small, but my empire keeps growing. Can you talk a little bit about how you've grown and developed so many successful and wonderful businesses?
Yes. So on the show, I mean, a lot of people saw me go from being a singer songwriter to starting. I had clothing stores, Tags Boutique, to do well, when I first started Bedroom Candy, having candy coated nights online, um, and mainly the thing is, I'm just one of those people that once I say that I want to do something or once I get an idea, I start putting action behind it. I'm not just gonna sit up and talk about an idea all day and you never see it come to life. Um, I'm gonna at least try, even if I can't get it all the way where I want it to be. I'm gonna try. Oh yeah, and then multiple restaurants and stuff like that too. So yeah, I've been in so many different lanes. It is kind of crazy because people always want to tell you to stay in one lane, but I clearly don't believe that.
Yeah. So, speaking of the various industries that you've been in, something that's always stood out to me and something I've always remembered is the first time I really realized and understood how the music industry worked was when I found out how royalties work on No Scrubs, which is one of your many popular and favorited songs. So I would love to know how the music industry and navigating the music industry has influenced or taught or set you up to navigate other industries.
Well, I would definitely say starting in the music industry at such an early age, I learned a lot. I've been through a lot of ups and downs. As kids, well, first of all, the first contract I signed, I was too young to sign it, so my mom had to sign it with me.
That's
When we signed to So Def, I was 16, and you live and you learn. Like, first of all, you know, whatever you negotiate now obviously affects you later, but in success, there's always room to renegotiate. But sometimes, like the way the music industry work is, everybody's like getting these advances, but they don't realize that's just another way for them to, keep us to where we are unrecouped. So it's either we gonna go as hard as you can and get the most you can as your advance and figure out other ways to make the money, but always know they're gonna find a way to never pay you another check, to always say that you're not recouped unless you're writing and you have publishing, which gives you a whole nother revenue stream. And touring is another revenue stream. So it's like you have to realize you have all these multiple revenue streams. And then the thing about who you have helping you with your money. Our group, when I was 18, 17, 18, our business manager at the time robbed us. He took like over $100,000 from our group, and we were just kids. We didn't know any better. So that taught me a lesson early. Like, you can't just go blindly and let people control your money. That's why I was really kind of like, after that point, I don't just let business managers control my money. It's like, you can do my taxes, but you won't be able to write checks out of my account. You won't be able to be the one that's paying bills. I seen another accountant, they were paying, well, it wasn't even them, it was the person that they had working for them, were paying their own bills out of our account with ours. So if you're not watching it, you're just seeing Comcast or whatever it may be, but not realizing it, that's not your bill. That's the other people' bill that's over there supposed to be looking out for your money.
That's that's insane and that's so sad. I On a more positive note, I'd love to pivot to talk a little bit about Candy Coated and what initiated the idea to create an inclusive beauty line.
So the way that Candy Coated Cosmetics came about is I've been doing bedroom candy, which was my adult brand, and then I had added bedroom candy boutique consultants. So our consultants, they, we've had thousands of bedroom candy consultants across the country, and they make a large percentage of the products that they sell. But we wanted to make more offerings for them so that when they're doing their businesses, they have more products that they can carry under their business line. So we continue to develop, we continue to partner with other black women who are smart. Like, one of the black women that are a part of Bedroom Candy, she's a scientist, and she helped develop some of the skincare products. Yeah, so we try to like invest within and build up our team. And because we are so good at development, like, we make sure that all our products are like top notch, and like you said, are, make sure they're the best quality products for your skin, the best quality as far as like packaging, everything. So it was just more so to continue to help the entrepreneurs that are part of our team who need more products to help them continue to build. And obviously, I love anything that's female driven. Like I'm a woman, so I know everything that as a woman, I know what I like. So just more products along that line.
Yeah, I love that. Speaking of knowing what you like, considering you entered an industry, the music industry, at such a young age, I can only imagine how much that industry and the world that you were in influenced how you felt about beauty and your relationship to the beauty industry and just influenced your experiences with beauty. How have you applied what you learned and what you saw in the music industry to your beauty brand and to your whole entire beauty identity?
I feel like growing up in the business, like I've had a whole transformation from the time I'm young. You know, when you first young, you don't really know much about, you know, your hair, like what they say, basic. You know, you just doing regular stuff. You don't know all the trends of the styles, but then you quickly start figuring it out because we're in the public eye, so people are constantly critiquing our looks. And then now, obviously with social media, it just become even more where people are constantly critiquing each other and talking about each other. And now, with health and wellness, I've Bedroom Candy and Candy Coated Cosmetics. So we're like a health and wellness brand. So we educate ourselves and our team. And so with that, it's like I'm constantly trying to find the best ways to, especially as I'm getting more mature, to keep this face together, keep this look together, Um, and behind that, I'm just constantly keeping up with the trends, keeping up with everything you know, that's going to continue to allow me to be my best self in front of camera.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, the title of this moment is Finding Your Pivot. Can you talk through the most important pivots that you've made throughout your career?
For sure. So I feel like we all, have a moment in our life and our career where it's like a transition moment. Maybe, we're tired of what we're doing in work, tired of what we're doing in a relationship, tired of, anything, you know what I mean? But it's just a moment where we feel it. We feel it from right here in our spirit, like, okay, we got to figure something out. What is our next? What is our next move? And that's something that I talk about a lot in the Next Move podcast. But overall, like, say for instance, in music, when our group started having issues, that was my first major pivot because as a group we were having success, but internally we could not get along. So it's like, how are we going to continue to make this successful if we can barely get along enough to go on stage together? So I need to have other sources of income because I didn't go to college. I didn't, have a degree to fall on. I didn't have corporate America to fall on or anything. So I was like, how am I going to be able to make a life for myself? So what I would do is I was always reading financial books. You know, you got to stay up on, how to budget, how to do this, how to do that. So I was reading those books all the time. And then I started thinking, okay, well, what else can I do with my talents to make money? So I always loved writing. So I started going extra hard at songwriting. I realized, well, I had watched Queen Latifah had won like this award years ago it was the Sammy Davis Jr. Award, and it was because she had did all of these things. She was managing artists, she was a producer, an actress, and all that. And I looked up to her, and I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna figure out how to do that." So I in my mind, I was like, "I'm smart. I could manage somebody." So I called up my friends, which ended up being the group Jagged Edge, and I was like, "Yo, I want to manage y'all." And I ended up getting them their record deal. Obviously they've gone on to sell millions of records, but it's just like once I get that idea in my head, I start looking for the steps. Like what could be next for me? Like I don't want this to be my end all be all. So you got to start mapping out a plan and don't wait till somebody snatch the rug up from under you to start working on whatever your plan is. You know what I mean? Like every day, every year, I have a goal. Every year at the end, as the year is ending, I'm like, okay, what is my theme going into the next year? What is it that I want to accomplish within the next year? You know? So you have to start writing those things down. You have to start looking at other people like yourself, other like minded people who are doing some of the things that either you do or that you want to do, right? And start asking yourself, what's so different in what they're doing and what I'm doing that's making their stuff so much more successful or getting them so much further ahead? And you just start, trying to apply some of those things to your business or your idea. You get what I'm saying?
100%. I really love the way that you've mapped out this conversation has essentially been a masterclass. And I hope everybody in the audience has really tuned in and understood because it's not just about moving from one thing to the next thing or from one thing to a better thing. It's about positioning yourself so that you can have multiple things. So that if one thing doesn't go well, you always have an expertise and a network and the ability to keep going, to never be, stuck in a
Exactly.
situation you didn't want.
Exactly. And you also have to take ego out of it, right? Because let's say you were the best hairstylist in town, right? Everybody know you because you do the best hair in town. Well, you weren't the first best hairstylist in town. Why did that other person kind of die down? Why did their heat die down? So you got to start thinking to yourself, I don't want my heat to die down. So what other things can I offer within my salon? What other things can what other companies can I collaborate to keep my business going? How do I continue to advertise? Because just because you're popping don't mean you're just going to continue to pop. You have to invest in the marketing of your business. You have to invest in, you know, all your ideas or make sure the quality of the things that you have is better and better and better.
You have to evolve. You have to evolve.
Yes.
Yeah.
And, sometimes if we start doing well at something, sometimes people can get comfortable. I never get comfortable.
100%. 100%. Thank you so much. We're out of time, but I did just want to ask a quick question because you are activating candy coated cosmetics here. So I'd love to know if you could share with us maybe your three favorite products. And then everybody needs to go to her booth and check them out.
Ooh, okay. So, as far as with candy coated, I think our Pretty Powerful lipstick is one of my favorites. I would say, as far as we also have our body butters over there, all of them hands down are amazing. And then hot cakes is it's like a bedroom candy product, but it's like a spray that it makes the love below smell amazing. So it's like one of those things you have to have. It's just a natural body spray. Some people even like to spray it on their arms or whatever, but it's just throughout the day. It's just you never know when you might need to just smell amazing. So I always tell people that is the best thing you do. It's just a little bit spray down there, and um it's body safe products. So meaning that it's even if you're sensitive or whatever, it still will go with your body makeup. Yeah.
Amazing. Amazing. Well, thank you so much, Candy. And thank you guys for joining us for the art of the pivot. I hope you guys enjoyed this conversation. I know I did. Candy dropped so many gems. I also saw recently that you tweeted about how you had a conversation with somebody and you gave them so many ideas. And I feel like that's what just happened here. And
Yeah.
everybody here needs to go and apply it to their lives.
Yeah, I met a young lady the other night. She was a friend of a friend, and she was, unfortunately, she was homeless right now, and so we were talking about different programs that she could be in to get her out of her situation. Plus, she had two children, and in the conversation, they were talking about how she's such an amazing artist, like painter, and I'm like, when you have a natural talent like that, there are multiple things that you can do to work for yourself to get out of this situation. Whether it's doing face painting for kids parties, whether it's doing, when you see people in the park and they're doing the paintings, like you can make cash money quick just by your talents. I was like, and then also through social media, telling your story while you're doing the face painting, making people relate to you, building up your numbers. we can help that grow in that way. And then you can start doing portraits. I was like, it's a build. So I was like, start here, make this much money, then continue to build there. And I was just telling her the route in which she can make it. And I feel like part of it is people always just thinking of the normal way. Well, I can't find a job or I can't do this. Not automatically thinking, okay, if I can't find a job right now, what are my talents that are my built in job that I can make for myself?
Wonderful. Thank you so
Okay.
much for
Thank you.
joining us. I thoroughly enjoyed this conversation. And thank you guys so much. Thank you for tuning in.